Yes, good afternoon, family. Karibuni sana to another beautiful episode right here on the Blackout Fire Network radio station. This is the media of the 21st century, 24 minutes past the top of the hour. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I don't know whatever the time is on your end. And of course, happy and amazing week ahead of you guys. I hope you guys are doing amazing. Hope you had a beautiful, beautiful weekend. Mine was fantastic, ready for the week. I can't wait to see what it has in store for me. Karibuni sana to today's conversation, where we shall, of course, be going through what has been happening throughout the weekend, including our major conversation. We shall be going to Sudan, rejecting the UN call for peacekeeping talks. And this is, of course, a talk that is supposed to protect the civilians. That's what they're saying. The UN. Okay, but yes, we shall be discussing about that because shout out to Sudan. The peace talks is actually something that has been trying to actually occur in the country, but with different groups, intervening. I remember that was, I think, 3 weeks ago. I remember Demore reporting on where the group, the group of military that is actually causing all this war in the country, having a talk with the US without the military of the country, literally. So it is quite crazy to see that the UN was calling for a peace talk, while the US itself already decided they don't even need to include the people of the country, not the people who are supposed to be involved in that particular conversation. But we shall be talking about that. Of course, we shall also discuss about where we have so far 50 people who have been confirmed dead, and that is after an explosion of a fuel tank that collided with a lorry carrying passengers and cattle. So we shall talk about that. Also, during the weekend in Kenya, we had a few number of students who also lost their lives, and that is after a fire breakout. And we're talking about 21 students so far, where the number has increased and that they have been confirmed dead. And this is after a fire broke in the school. This is something that actually happens in the 254 a lot. I'm not sure if other African countries this happens, but every time, I was even asking Shumani this, every time we're almost towards the end of the year or the third whatever of the school, of the curriculum, literally, it happens to where we see most of the schools literally being, getting all these fire outbreaks and all that. The cause of the fire is never ever indicated in majority of the cases, and in majority of these cases, actually, it's also the parents who actually end up paying the damages that probably the students who have been involved in the cause of the fire, because again, the fire clearly is never, the indication of what starts the fire is never given out. It's always some students always being blamed or something just happened. But we shall be discussing about that because that reminds me of a story which happened that was in Mombasa last year. And I remember the parents of this particular school were being told to give actually a very large amount of money. And if you try to look at the school fees, the uniform, the damages that the school has actually gotten, and we have a minister of education of that particular county who was not answering calls, and yet there's funds set aside for emergencies that actually happen in school. It is crazy, and we do need answers, because we're talking again where accountability actually needs to be held and the kind of leaders we have. We shall also go back a little bit, talk about the China Africa Summit, of course, see what's really happened and what green future do they really have for us, because that's what they're saying. We shall also talk about what is happening also in Haiti, where the funding issues could lead to replacement of the Kenya-led police forces. So it is quite alarming, because remember, Kenya did receive some funds for them to deploy their troops over there. Remember, it was not just Kenya. We also had other countries like Benin, who are actually offering 2,000, and so many other African countries, including Chad and the rest, that actually did offer to take their troops to Haiti to destabilize the country, not to help restore peace. Understand that. And then as we get to go back to the music, I want to share this amazing story coming from Cuba. And then we go back with, of course, some music and come back with the quotes of the day, quote of the week, share anything positive you have there. Anyone who's live with us on Facebook, on YouTube, not on Facebook, but on YouTube, on Twitter, on TikTok, Karibuni Sana, on our Rumble page, on BitChute, on our TV, on our radio, on Spreaker, on Spotify, on Rumble. tuko kila mahali kama nzi nakwambia. But listen to this amazing story coming here from Cuba, where I remember there's a time I did a whole story on the Cuban doctors who are actually deployed in Kenya. But if you try look at actually the Cuba itself, majority of the people or the black people who are there, they're not really living a good life, because this country is not just only poor, but they are barely recognized. Okay, but it's amazing to see that actually we have some Afro descendant women from there who are actually here embracing the African in the Africanness, if there's such a term, in them, embracing their hair, something that we're not taught, especially as African people. We're taught you should not like your hair the way it is, do something different about it, try put on this and this and this so it can become a little bit like a mzungu and all that. But can we learn embracing our hair, and can you teach that to your children?
Afro hair in all its beauty. More and more Cubans, especially young people, are embracing their natural hair to express pride in their African heritage. La Habana hosted the island's first Afro Beauty Aesthetics Convention. Medical student and entrepreneur Talia Quesada created a line of natural skin and hair care. My job is to help people like me who want to find themselves again, who want to stop straightening their hair and end the torture of the hot comb. People who wonder which products in hand will help them find themselves again, to have their hair be strong, natural, and healthy. Specialized artists and businesses, models, fashion designers, makeup artists, stylists, and the public came together. Several hundred people also discussed the racial context in Cuba, a crucial issue, the organizer says. You have to understand the emotional and psychological side, the cultural effects, the historic reclaiming of our culture, our blackness, and the importance of our hair to us. Cuba's history is rooted in the island's sugarcane production, which employed enslaved Africans. According to official data from a 2012 census, 9% of Cubans are black. It's good to shatter stereotypes. We've always been marked by the stereotype that beauty must be the blonde Barbie. Them being shattered helps us open borders. The Afro Beauty Aesthetics Convention culminated on August 31st with a competition showcasing hairstyles. In an economy under embargo, specialized local brands have emerged for affordable products for dark skin.
Yes, and of course, Karibuni Sana. Hope you guys are doing amazing. Good afternoon, Grand Rising. If you're just tuning in, 33 minutes past the top of the hour. And of course, welcome to yet another beautiful, beautiful conversation right here with me, your host, JOBY. And as I said, today we shall be, of course, catching up on what took place during the weekend, including our major conversation, which is focused on Sudan rejecting the UN call for peace talks. And that is, of course, to protect the civilians. But of course, Karibuni Sana to everyone who's live with us on YouTube, on TikTok, on our Rumble page, on the TV, on the show page, Kila Mahali, wherever you're listening to us from. Welcome to today's episode of the Pan African Relation. My quote of today, it says, "A wise man never knows all, and only fools know everything." Okay, a wise man never knows all. That mine is from it's an African proverb, literally today. It says, "A wise man never knows all, and only fools knows everything." And another one also, this is coming from Malcolm X. It says, "Ignorance of each other is what has made unity impossible in the past. Therefore, we need enlightenment. We need more light about each other. Light creates understanding. Understanding creates love. Love creates patience. And patience creates unity." That is Malcolm X with that amazing quote of the day. So I hope you guys stay blessed with these two amazing, amazing quotes as you move by the day or the week. Karibuni sana once again. And of course, as we get started and shared an amazing, amazing, amazing video right there coming from the Cuban people. And it's amazing to see that actually, despite the poverty, I feel like Africans, the poverty they have faced, the destabilization of their countries, lack of employment, usually a lot of things going on in Africans' lives and the continent itself. I feel like it has led so many African people to move away from their cultures, embracing their traditions, embracing their arts like this, and all such kind of things. Like, and embracing themselves. Right now, most of the people, if they wake up, is thinking about, how am I going to pay the rent? How am I going to pay the bills? Someone who I love is on the hospital. A lot of things literally going on. Next year, my kid is supposed to go to school. School fees is supposed to cost this much. Like, Africans have not been given that space to actually embrace their cultures, traditions, in majority of the places, not just all, but majority of the places. For them to get that time to just set aside festivals, to embrace culture, traditions, and all that, it has become super, super hard because of the modern day slavery that actually has been kept super active on them. But I'm so happy to see that we have some Cuban women who are actually embracing their hair, and that is something beautiful to see. I've seen, of course, also on TikTok. I don't know which group of women is this, but they really have amazing, amazing hair, like really beautiful, long Afro black hair. Like, it's so beautiful. I love to see it personally. As much as I couldn't maintain mine, you know, we love it here. We love it here, African. Should have been meeting people and they're just calling me the African woman because I'm all natural and all the attires, the jewelries and all that. It's giving the African woman. But I wish we could embrace this more, make it our norm, and let other people actually embrace our culture instead of us embracing theirs. Because I feel like there's a lot of shift from Africa to westernization, and which is actually very real, and we know that. But I don't want to focus on that so much. Of course, I want to start with what is happening. Very sad news, of course, what took place during the weekend. And I want to start with my very own country, Kenya, where in some school there was a fire outbreak that actually has led to 21 students so far losing their lives. And these are boarding schools. So they're saying at least 3 students have been injured after a fire broke out at the girls' boarding school in the central Kenyan's Isiolo town on Saturday. Shout out to Christine, one of our sales marketing lady right here. She's from Isiolo. And they're saying that it comes after the deaths of at least 21 children in fire at a boarding school in Nyeri, also in central Kenya, around 11 p.m. That is the local time on Thursday. So we had during the weekend where a fire broke, and where they're saying at least a few students have been injured, and this comes after another school also caught fire, and 21 students so far have lost their lives. They're saying that the Kenyan police spokesperson said the blaze destroyed the dormitories at Isiolo Girls High School before being contained. And the cause of the blaze is unknown, but there have been numerous fires in boarding schools in Kenya in recent years, prompting national concern about safety standards. Like I said before starting, this is something that is so commonly known. I don't know why. It keeps happening, especially towards the end of the year. Every year, trust me, family, like we have these fire outbreaks every year. Every year we're gonna report, like if you mark next year, probably we're gonna report the same thing at time like this, where there's gonna be so many fire outbreaks in school. The cause of the fire, majority of the times, like you can hear from this, it's never known. The cause of the blaze is always unknown. So you ask yourself, are we dealing with ghosts? Are ghosts real? Or what is really happening? But in most of the cases, I know where also students themselves that the ones who set the blaze. This because they don't want either to continue with the curriculum, or either they're disagreeing with something in school. So to cause attention, or for them to actually be hard enough, they cause a blaze, and they actually, which leads to so many damages. And the parents are the ones who end up paying for these damages. Because I remember the story I was giving some time back, it made me so mad, about Mombasa. We saw in Mombasa, these students, the fire again, the cause of the blaze was unknown. A few students were injured, majority taken to the hospital, and of course there were damages that happened. And I remember the Minister of Education in Mombasa County was being called non-stop, and she never answered the call. Non-stop calls, but she never answered the call. There's funds set aside for these emergencies, but they're never properly used. So the question is again, what is the cause of the fire, and what are the funds that are supposed to cover up all these damages, including the medical cover for the students, because that is the part of the emergency fund set aside. The medical cover for these students. No parent should be actually using their money to fund any of this. My child is in your hand. It is up to you. As much as it is my child, you are the one who's responsible to ensure my child's safety is okay. So you're saying the cause of the fire is unknown. This is actually very unserious of our system. This is not the first time we hear this, we see this. It happens a lot of times, and it is so sad to see that we lack proper leadership when it comes to our Ministry of Education, because something should have been done long time ago to see how we can actually be able to deal with such kind of emergencies when there's fire outbreaks in school. Nobody should be losing their lives. There should be quick ways of helping these kind of students. There should be quick ways of getting rid of this blaze, which is unknown, every single time. There should be quick ways of us doing this. But it is sad to see that over the years, it has been happening, and no change. No Ministry of Education or Minister of Education has come forth to say we're coming with this and this strategy or solution to help our students or schools to deal with this kind of emergencies. This is just so sad, being honest. But they're also adding that the Kenya Red Cross say that 3 children had suffered minor injuries and had been received, they had received psychological first aid. Police, fire and rescue squads could be seen using the flashlights to search for any students. I mean, what is that? You're using flashlights to look for students, while there should be people who are getting on that fire to go, and not really to burn themselves, but there should be a way of you helping these students not to be actually hurt. This is just so sad, being honest. And I just want to say condolences to the families, those who have lost their children. This is literally super sad, because these are child who had a dream. These are parents who had, of course, probably dreams also for their children. They had plans with their children, probably after school. But you see your child perishing in fire, and there's no solution or answers to what caused the fire. I'm going to be mad 10 times, and you're going to give me the answers. Okay? This should actually make parents question our Ministry of Education at this particular point. This is up to the parents, not even to the ministry. This is up to the parents to question the safety of students in schools at this particular point. It's the time for you to question also the emergency funds set aside to do this kind of jobs. The Red Cross also, they are also late. They work super late. These people are always called on time when there's something happening, or even the firefighters. They're called on time. They're gonna come 2 hours later. They're like, well, we didn't even have water. There's a time where there was a fire outbreak, then they came without water. I'm like, what are you guys doing? What are you coming to do here? People are being injured. People are losing their lives. Properties are being damaged. But you're coming to tell us you don't have water. What did you come to do? And then they arrive after people have solved the problem themselves. After we've dealt with the problem, that's the time you arrive. 2 hours later, three people are dead. That's when you arrive. This lack of seriousness in our continent, literally. And it's not just Kenya. I believe this is happening, especially in a country like Nigeria. Oh my God. I know it is worse. And I'm not actually on Nigerians today. I'm just saying, in a country that is so poorly managed like that, in a country where even the water system itself is not properly dealt with, you think they're going to deal with schools? Ensure that your safety matters. It's going to be the last thing to talk about or think about. That is Tinibu, literally. But shout out to John Mosquito. Hello to you too. Hope you're doing amazing, John Mosquito. Hope your weekend was amazing. But Ikan Fire also see you. What's up? Hope you had a beautiful weekend as well. He also says, I've been telling you all along, wear your own hair. I understand your trauma, but you have to fight it. I don't have trauma. What do you mean? I'm not getting you. What trauma? What does that, even if I had trauma, what does my trauma have to do with my hair? I'm just asking. Like, what does that have to do with my hair? I don't understand. You lost me. And it's not like I've never been uncomfortable wearing my hair. You should know Joby way better than what you're describing. I'm so sorry, man. It can be better, okay? Do better. Do better. That's all I'm gonna say. But as we get to move on, still in Nigeria, we also had a number of people who lost their lives due to a blaze also. That is after a tanker exploded. In Nigeria, we know, of course, with the exploitation of oil in that country, anything is possible, especially anywhere, because the oil spillage in that country is a lot, The oil spillage in that country is a whole lot. The damages they have done, not only to the rivers, to the dams, it's a lot what they have done also to the communities because of the proper way of carrying out things. You just caught me with that comment, you can fire. I'm really comfortable myself with my hair. Oh my God, I don't know why you had to say that. Is it because of the wigs? Because I've seen you. I think you're the same person who has questioned me about me wearing wigs or something. I'm gonna keep on wearing them. I'm comfortable in everything I put on. I'm not gonna walk out of my house feeling uncomfortable. I am comfortable, very, very comfortable. Even the small documentary told you that it is the psychological effects, not loving and wearing your own hair. Nah. And it is also a psychological effect to think if I'm wearing something different, I don't like myself. That is also a psychological effect. How about that? That is just me saying, it's also a psychological effect if you feel like someone does not really feel comfortable in themselves. Well, they continuously keep telling you they're cool, I'm a media personality and I'll style different myself. I'm a brand. I'll style myself differently every single day. So you just have to embrace it. That's all I'm gonna say. But they're saying at least 50 people have been killed in the central Nigeria's Niger state. That is after a fuel tanker collided with a lorry carrying passengers and cattle. And the country's disaster agency was the one giving this information. The country's disaster agency. Okay, I didn't know we have countries' disaster agencies. What do they do? If we have them, then in every African country, what do they do? At what time do they solve the disasters? Because we have so many disasters happening in Africa. Each African country is facing disasters. So what are our agencies doing? That is my question. What are our agencies doing? But the Niger State Emergency Management Agency said the collision happened at about 12:30 local time. That was on yesterday, and he accused and caused an explosion which engulfed both the vehicles. Director General of the agency said that the response team were on a dispatch, and the scene were dispatched to the scene to manage the situation. A number of other vehicles were also caught up in the explosion, and the footage taken from the scene shortly after the incident shows two vehicles with which have been entirely burnt out, as well as a number of kettles which died. This is crazy, but in Nigeria, this is, I'd say, probably poor roads, number one. Uh, our drivers too, because it's not just Nigeria. I've seen this happening. Accidents, especially even right now in the 254, we've seen a lot of accidents. Mm-hmm. We're not gonna argue about that. Trust me, we're not gonna win the argument with me. You're not you're not gonna win that argument with me about my hair. Oh my god. Or how I'm gonna style myself. No, you're not gonna win that argument with me. I'm embracing, and that's why I had to share that. If I didn't literally embrace hair or African hair, I'd not even be sharing such kind of stories or coming back to tell stories. I'd be gone with that story and leave it alone and share other stories, because there's so much to talk about. But I'm sharing because I'm literally advocating also people embracing their own hair. Okay. But anyway, you think that I am a Rasta. A lot of people try to discriminate on my hair, but my self-esteem has overwhelmed them. As exactly, that's how it should be. Because it's not like I've not seen that also with the Rasta men. I also had dreads. Trust me, the Rasta. Okay, let me call them Rasta. Yeah, I also had I had dreads. I had dreadlocks. We're supposed to call them dreads or dreadlocks. There's one we're not supposed to be using. The locks or the dreads. But yes, I also had locks some time back. Like that was in 2019. Yeah, I had locks too, and my hair actually is very smooth, so my hair couldn't lock. Like it took time before it locked, so I got disappointed and then just undid the locks. Like I had locks. Trust me, there's nothing I've not tried it with my own hair. Okay, I've kept a whole afro, you know. So I love short hair too. I love me short hair, trust me, so much. I don't care how many times I'm gonna restart doing my hair, but I'll cut my hair as much as I want. When I feel like, I'm gonna do it. Because it grows back, Yeah, so that's how it should be. You should not be feeling like nobody. I've seen that a lot, especially growing up. I've seen men, to be specific, being criticized for wearing their own hair, like, why are you keeping a hair, or you look unserious. That's how they describe you, right? They think you're an unserious person because you have locks. They think there's just that stereotype or something created about people who have locks, especially the men, to be specific. I've seen men actually being arrested, to be specific, young men. I've seen them being arrested a couple of times. If you have someone like Kamlesh has been arrested actually here, I think once they told him he looks like a suspect just because he had locks. You look like a suspect of what? For doing what? Doing what? I've seen people being arrested a couple of times because of that, wearing their hair, being mistaken for being gangs, being thieves, and sometimes even being shot because of the mistaken identity, because you have locks. Okay, so yeah, that's how it should be, Ikan. You should not let anyone make you feel some certain type of way because of your hair. Personally, again, like I said, I'm a media personality and I'm a brand too. So I'm gonna style myself differently every single day. Every single day. I'm gonna do short hair. Tomorrow I'm gonna do long hair. I'm gonna do braids. I'm gonna do a wig maybe. It's not something I'm gonna wear every day. I'm just gonna keep on changing. That's all. That's how it should be, because also life, things change every single time. Yeah. But yeah, that is what is happening in Nigeria. And I was saying with the situation, I feel like this is because of the poor roads. To have this kind of accidents, these probably poor roads, because I'm trying to look at the picture. Let me share again. I'm trying to look at the picture we have on this scene, and the road is really, really thin, like super thin, super, super thin. Yeah. There's no way gonna be having tractors, uh, lorries carrying cattle and all that passing in the same road where passengers are being carried. And actually, the truck, we should have a one pathway. I don't know if in America you guys have that. I wanna know. Does America have a one path way of just the lorries alone? Like just a one path of the lorries. I don't know if you guys are getting me. I feel like in Africa we should have that, because of number one, we have careless drivers. We really have reckless, careless, drunk drivers, to be specific. Reckless, careless, drunk drivers. Drunk. And then in this kind of roads where people are passing, we should have a one-way path of just tractors and lorries. I don't know if in America we have that. But in Africa, this is something personally. I've been saying this. If I become an MP, this is one of the things I'm going to do. I've been saying this. If I become an MP, this is one of the things I'm going to do. Because I hate, number one, the road we have. Like, the road we have here in Rongai is so pathetic, you guys. We have only one path. Only one path. Only one path to connect you to, I don't know, to how many counties you're going. Only one path. And the traffic we have is crazy. Before you get to town, or when you're going to town or coming back from town, it takes a whole lot of time before you get home, because it's just one path. And in this one path, we have those careless, reckless, drunk drivers who are going to drive anyhow and then end up literally colliding with a lorry carrying such fuel and then explode. So it's crazy. John was really saying, just as long as you don't wear the thunder earrings, Joby. What's up with the thunder earrings, John Mosquito? Why don't you like the thunder earrings anymore? To be specific, anymore. Why don't you like the thunder earrings? I like the thunder earrings. They're really cute. Do you know those thunder earrings are from Tanzania? Huh? I imported. I imported those earrings. Stop playing with me, John Mosquito. But yes, I'm gonna find different earrings to style my hair. But yeah, embrace your hair. Feel comfortable around that shit. Let nobody tell you nothing. But Nigeria, they could do better. If they only held Tinubu responsible for not doing better, then they can do better. We should not be having this kind of bullshit happening anymore in Africa. It's 2024, for crying out loud. But we're still years behind. This is just so sad. And with the people literally producing all the resources to the rest of the world, it is so sad. We should do better. We should actually do better. As funny as it sounds, it's not funny. As funny as it sounds, we should really do better. We should not be having any kind of those situations, both cases we have discussed, of having this kind of disasters and not having. And we have agencies. That is just the craziest part, and I didn't even know. But as we get to move on to the next conversation, is about Haiti. And of course, we've seen our Kenyan troops were taken to Haiti a few months ago. That is after some funds were allocated. And, excuse me, I don't know if they have been paid, this police. I'm not sure if they have been paid. And if they were paid, it's a minimal amount of money to just make them go, but they were not really well paid. So what is happening in Haiti? They're saying that they're actually asking, what will the future of the Kenya-led mission in Haiti look like? What is the future? Very pathetic, we know that. Kid says it's a white supremacy symbol. It is. It sure is. But yes, they're saying that the United States of America and Ukaida, can't pronounce that, you guys. The United States of America and Ukaida, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, Ukaida circulated a draft resolution on Friday asking the United Nations to begin planning for UN peacekeeping operation to replace the Kenyan-led mission now in the Caribbean nation, okay? The Kenyan troops ain't doing shit. They need serious people who are killing, brutalizing people there. They're like, these Negroes are really jokers. They have They have humanity in them. Maybe. They're not brutal. They're not tackling shit. They're there praying, actually. If you guys have not seen the video, it's circulating online. Our Kenyan troops who are sent to Haiti, they are praying. They're not just praying. These people have been told to sit aside, study French, okay? So that they can be able to communicate to people. I'm like, there's no I'm going on a mission and you guys to start telling me to start reading. I didn't come here to read. I came on a mission. Where's the mission? I'm supposed to do this and this and this and go back to my family. Or if not. But apparently, that is what is happening. So they're saying that they are asking for the United Nations to begin planning for a UN peacekeeping operation to replace the Kenya-led mission now in the Caribbean nation. This sounds so funny. Ruto has failed us once again. Ruto has really completely failed us, not only in leadership, but he can't even bring serious people in the job. You know, the UN-backed mission has seen almost 400 Kenyan police deployed since June. It's more than 400, remember. They're also adding that on Thursday, already the U.S. top diplomat said a UN peacekeeping force was an option to address a funding crisis for Kenya-led mission, which depends on voluntary contribution. The US and Canada have provided the bulk of funds so far. Peacekeeping operation by contracts are funded in the special UN budget. If the proposed Security Council resolution mentions gains made by the UN-backed multinational mission, it is yet to be a game changer, right? Haiti last week expanded its state emergency to cover the entire nation's territory. The last UN operation in Haiti left the island in 2017, and it was blamed for dumping infected sewages in a river, causing cholera outbreak. Wow. According to the internal UN reports, between 2004 and 2007, at least 134 UN peacekeepers exploited 9 Haitian children in sex ring. As if they don't do this. And this is why, listen, anyone who's going to tell me that the UN peacekeepers are not the ones spreading monkeypox, oh my God, you sound dumb. You sound so dumb telling me that right now, you don't believe these UN peacekeepers are digging each other's butthole apart from just raping children. I so believe that. And I so believe these are the same people spreading monkeypox to children. Because I ask myself, how is it that a child, a 2-year-old baby in DRC Congo, where are you getting monkeypox from? In a country that we know, these UN peacekeepers are very active there, not only sexually assaulting our children, but also women. And with the thirst and horniness they have, and pardon my French, you think they can keep it together not to even dig on each other's butts? If you can literally just go and you rape a child, what can't you do? And these are white men. These UN peacekeepers are white men, literally. This is just giving me all the answers. I feel like right now the rise of monkeypox in Africa and in majority of the countries mentioned, because remember it was DRC Congo, Central Republic, Central of Africa, Central Republic. I always confuse the name, all right? But the other Congo, all of it's Congo. It's been affected, and I kind of thought about it. I'm like, nah. As much as there is, I know in DRC we have some few people who are gay. How is it getting to a child? And then you go back, you look, you're like, the UN peacekeepers have been raping children. This is just so crazy. But back to this. And checking on the track of the UN. Let me see how many times. Let me just do a research right here very quickly to see what's going on. I want to see how many times have the UN peacekeepers have they been accused of sexual assault of children? Okay, how many times? Okay, so let's see. So they're saying the AP further found that over the 12 years, oh my God, over the 12 years, we're in 2024, right? It's more than that. The AP further found that over the 12 years before 2017, there had been almost 2,000 allegations of sexual abuse and exploitation by the peacekeepers and other UN personnel around the world. These crimes occurred among other personnel from and in many different countries. 2,000, only 2,000? It's more than 2,000. And actually, it's more than 12 years. I do believe it's more than 12 years. Let me look at um, a deeper given article. Let's see. Can you examine human rights abuse, peacekeeper, sexual exploitation and abuse by the UN? Let's see. This is actually an African journalist, all right? So of course we do have some truth right here. Let me see this one. Oh shit. Okay, it's downloaded. All right, let me see if I'm gonna find it. All right, so it says, okay, the United Nations peacekeepers have been subjected to allegations of serious sexual misconduct for many years, such as incidents of sexual assaults perpetrated by peacekeepers have been documented over the years in the number of countries. The violations of the the codes of conduct, particularly regarding sexual exploitation and abuse, damages the image and credibility of peacekeeping operation. Victims of sexual exploitation and abuse suffer severe physical and psychological consequences. This sexual exploitation of children by peacekeepers is particularly insidious. Educational Educational inventions and training initiatives to bring about behavior change to address sexual exploitation and abuse must take cognizance, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, of the way in which social identities are shaped in response to the life challenges posed by the relevant social and material world in which the peacekeepers find themselves. Human rights, human rights human rights transgression and abuse, whether in a war or other military deployment, remain an escapable reality. So sexual abuse is armed conflict as a long history and has always been considered norm wartime behavior, with perpetrators acting with unreserved impunity. Perpetrators range from the members of official armed and security forces, paramilitary groups, non-state armed groups, that is the NGOs, non-state armed groups. I think that's the NGOs. If I'm not wrong, right? Not the NGOs. I think so. I'm not sure, but yeah. Non-state armed groups to civilians, including the refugees and displaced persons. Although the majority of the victims of sexual violence are women and girls, men and boys are targeted. Men and boys are targeted. So you guys, you want to tell me, oh my goodness, this is just giving clear answers to why we have rise of monkeypox. It's not really that as exaggerated, but I do believe it's there. And I do believe it's there because of a certain case we were discussing last week. This guy who woke up, found himself, he went to a birthday party. This guy woke up, found himself with a condom on his butt, and his butt was swollen. So you want to tell me right now men are becoming predators of other men? Oh my God. Okay, so I'm not even shook. But I'm just shook. I'm not even shook, but I'm shook. I'm not gonna lie. This is crazy. Oh my God. Let me continue reading. Let me go back to the article. Where is it? Okay. So it says, oh my God. Okay, so although the majority of the victims of sexual violence are women and girls, men and boys are also targeted in many conflicts. Indigenous people or people from specific populations group are targeted of sexual violence based on their ethnicity. Ethnicity. What do you mean based on their ethnicity? this is this is crazy, okay? Okay. What do you mean based on their ethnicity? That has caught me. This is just so crazy. So we have so what is happening in Sudan right now? And Congo. But let me continue. We get more details. This is just so shocking. While the majority of the perpetrators of sexual exploitation and abuse are male, there have also been reports of perpetrators being women. Humanitarian and peacekeepers personnel have a long history of sexual misconduct, usually in the form of sexual exploitation, sexual abuse, and human trafficking. The notion of human security holds that a people holds that a people centered view of security is necessary for national region global stability. That's the bullshit, of course, they always say. Personal security as one of the components under underpinning human security aims to protect people from physical violence, whether from the state or external states, from violent individuals to sub-state actors, from domestic abuse or from the predatory adults. In this article, it is argued that explanations of why peacekeepers engage in sexual exploitation and abuse should involve the understanding of the social identities of the peacekeepers and social condition under which these identities are constructed. Stockdale, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, Stockdale points out that sexual behavior is closely linked with norms of sexual groups with which, let me read that again. I don't know, guys, I can't see well. I'm struggling. Okay. All right. Okay, these norms, I'm just gonna read it again. I can't see even where I left. All right. So in this article, it is argued that the exploitation of why peacekeepers engage in sexual exploitation and abuse should involve an understanding of the social identities of the peacekeepers and the social condition under which these identities are constructed. And Stockdale points out that the sexual behavior is closely linked with the norms of the social groups with which we identify. These norms shape the boundaries of the permission of the permissible behavior and define the limits of divines. Any efforts of being or any efforts to bring about behavior change must con, con, eh, cognize must I can't, but you guys understood the whole thing, right? I can't read I can't, I'm really struggling. The words are really so small, but the article seems to have so many details. I'm gonna maybe download it on my phone because I really can't see. I see the Nazis being mentioned here, the Nazis propaganda, yeah. So the exploitation, abuse of children, and all that. It's actually a very long article, but at least we've gotten some context uh, of that. And this is just super insane. But going back to Haiti, I'm sorry that we had to shift all that, but that's really brought my curiosity because if they're saying according to the internal UN report between 2004 and 2007, at least 134 UN peacekeepers exploited 134 UN peacekeepers exploited 9 children. This is just so crazy. This this is crazy. And it's more than that because they're the ones, of course, controlling the information. So they're lying. This is more than 2004, 2007. And and the way Google also gave me the information telling me over the last 12 years before 2017, it's only 2,000 cases that have been reported. It's also a lie. These cases are more than that because you're talking about not just girls, women, men being the target, and boys. What's more? What's more? Because there's so much we don't know. We think we know, we don't know. You know, there's so much we really have no idea. But they're also adding to this article, of course, about Haiti and the UN peacekeepers coming back. They're talking about the scandal of the Haiti UN peacekeeping mission and how it ended. So they're saying in 2004, a rebellion had the country on the brink of collapse, leading the deployment of UN peace forces, and it helped stabilize the impoverished nation after successful election and a devastating 2010 earthquake that killed as many as 3,000 people and ended in 2017. I'm certain probably they're the ones who manipulated the weather because whatever they're seeking in Haiti, they have been doing it for a while. It's a history long known and being recorded. So I feel like probably they're the ones who did that, even caused the earthquake, because they manipulate the weather nowadays. They have the machines to do anything they want. But they're also adding the UN peacekeepers left under a cold no, a cloud with the troops from Nepal widely blamed for introducing cholera that killed about 10,000 people in Haiti. That is since 2010, and other troops implicated in sexual abuse, including rape and the targeting of hungry children. In 2017, the UN has had a series of small missions in Haiti, and the latest political mission has a mandate to advance a Haiti-led political process towards election, the rule of law, and human rights. Many Haitians have rejected the proposal, of course, of another peacekeeping operation, given the scandal surrounding the previous peacekeeping mission. Some Haitians also see UN peacekeepers as an occupying force. Of course, it is. They know what's up. Many Haitians are they're also saying that Haiti asked for an international force of combating the gangs in 2022, and the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres appealed for months for a country to lead the force before the Kenyans came forward and pledged 1,000 police. They are expected to be joined by police from the Bahamas, Bangladesh, Barbados, Benin, Chad, and Jamaica. Oh, my brothers, you are finished. You live in China for who? Bring in. You live in Jamaica for who? At China, literally, because it is now a Chinese held country. It can as well be called China. I'm sorry, Jamaicans. But who are you leaving your country for? You need to take care of your own house before you go take care of someone else's house. Clean your own mess first. Your island is slowly being invaded. They're taking over the businesses. They're talking shit to you, claiming to be even Jamaicans now. They're no longer Chinese, and and you want to tell me you're going to Haiti to fight your brothers? Are you crazy? You should go back to the island. You should be the number one people. Actually, Jamaicans should be the number one supporters of Haiti. Jamaicans should be having Haitians back right now. They should be working together to actually prevent this invasion of these peacekeepers, including the Kenyan ones. Because remember, we had Haitians demonstrating when Ruto was in the States at that time, before the demonstrations, the Maandamano. We had some Haitians who were demonstrating in the States when Ruto was in the States, calling him out a puppet, calling him out a traitor, literally, because that's what he is. But they also add that this would be deployed in phases, and that would roughly cost $600 million a year. Currently, the UN has $85 million in pledge for the mission and out which 68 million has been received. The gangs have grown in power since July 2021, and the assassination of the president, Jovenel Moise, and are now estimated to control up to 80% of the capital. The surge in killings, rape, and kidnappings have led to violent uprising of civil vigilance group, which is a lie. Like I said, they call you they call you the pirates. They label you all types of names, you guys, because you're trying to literally prevent them from getting in. But if only Africa we understood better as a whole, which majority of our people, of course, do, because on TikTok, that's the chat going on. In some platforms, we also have, of course, people who have an eye on Haiti, what is happening. But if only as a whole we knew what is going on, we should actually, number one, not allow our countries to deploy these people. In Kenya, we should have literally demonstrated way harder during these demonstrations that we had, calling out Ruto a puppet for actually going to destabilize Haiti. We should actually be crying Haiti as we demonstrate. That's how we show love. That's how we show unity. Like Malcolm X said, so I'm going to read that quote again. The quote I read for today, which was saying, because that's how I believe Africa is going to save each other. Africa is going to save itself, and it's going to be us, the people. Because I try to look at countries like Congo, and I'm like, this country cannot do it. It can't do it alone. There's no way Congo, you guys are going to wait for Congo to help itself. Congo needs you. DRC Congo needs, not just the Africa needs each other. So that's all I'm going to say. Let me read the quote. I hope I still have it. Let me see. I don't know if I still have it. Let's see. Okay, so it was saying ignorance of each other is what has made unity impossible in the past. That is Malcolm X. Ignorance of each other is what has made unity impossible in the past. Therefore, we need enlightenment. We need more light about each other. Because every day, trust me, with me presenting, I'm learning something about other countries. I'm learning something about Haiti. I'm learning something about Chad. I'm learning something about Benin. I'm learning something about Jamaica. I don't know which country caught me by surprise, either Zambia or Malawi, but one of the countries, there was a time I was doing a story about it, and I was like, what? I learn every day. And by learning, I also go back to our curriculum, the system of education, how we've not been taught history of each other's country. And that's why we have these assumptions we have about other countries and all the stereotypes created about other countries. Because if I'd never gone to Tanzania, I'd never actually say, apart from hearing it from people, I'd not literally, I'd still be saying Tanzanians maybe have this type of behavior. Because we used to be told it's only in Tanzania where police are going to beg to arrest you. And I'm like, really? But until I saw it, actually what happened, I remember Demore asking that on one of the shows. What happened is one time we was stopped, we were in the Uber, and then the police pulled over, and it was so kind. It's not like our Kenyan police, like the way they tell you, bring me chai. If you don't give me the 100 bob or the dollar, I'm going to arrest you. Nah, the police in Tanzania are so polite, you guys, like so polite. Super polite. Because I remember I was recording and then I had to stop recording because they're like, nah, utafuta hiyo. Hapana, ufai kuwa unanichukua video. You know? Man, it was amazing. And then even though out there asking for bribe, like they are not asking for bribe like directly. It was nice. And we're like, this is so dope. In Kenya, you wouldn't do this. Quick, get the money or you follow the police officer. He gets in your car actually forcefully. That's what they do. They get in your car. In Nairobi, they get in your car forcefully. You know, it is insane. But I'll read this again. Ignorance of each other is what has made unity impossible in the past. Therefore, we need enlightenment. We need more light about each other. Light creates understanding. All right. Number one, understanding creates love. Because as Africans, once we have enlightenment about each other, we come to an understanding. We understand, oh, so this is what they go through. So this is not just a Kenyan problem. These are actually also a Uganda problem. Oh, if Uganda is facing this, what about Rwanda? Oh, just because Kagame acts like a good ass puppet, a good leader, it doesn't mean like he's a good leader. Rwanda is also going through it. So once you have that understanding, you start loving each other. You start caring because love care comes with care, literally. And love creates patience, of which we don't want to have patience. We need to fight once we have that love. I don't think we should have patience anymore once we have the love. And then from there, we have the unity, literally. That is Malcolm X, and that was my quote of today. Relating to everything I'm discussing and what African countries are going through, from Kenya to Nigeria to Haitians, we need enlightenment. So I believe if the rest of the world or if Africans fully had full information about what are Haitians or these gang members, what they're trying to do, then we'll be having their back. But on the last conversation of the day, as we come to the end of today's conversation, man, my voice is getting lost. I don't understand why. But as we get to the end of today's session of the Pan African Bleach, we want to talk about also Sudan, which I've mentioned, of course, on these conversations. And I'm asking, how are countries such as this supposed to be helped if we don't help them? If we don't actually talk about it louder enough, if we don't call out the peacekeepers who are trying to actually destabilize the country, raping women and children, that is in the name of you. How is that peaceful? Man, it's only that a nuclear bomb can kill everyone. But if only we could drop it, only we could drop it literally where these people are, especially in Israel, would conquer a lot. And then we go to England, where the Rothschild and the Rockefellers have set their foundations. In British, we drop another one. And then we see who runs the world now. Okay? We have Israel and we have, we have those people, all of them. Now, who controls the world? If only we could do that. But we can't afford to be Japan. Nah. There's a time I sat down and thought about it, like literally having a whole nuclear bomb dropped on us because of maybe us not complying with something. I was actually thinking about this during the demonstrations, because I'm trying to think about what really did Kenya do and Tanzania in 1998 that caused that bomb. What is it that Kenya and Tanzania, I've never done research on that yet, but I still wonder what really happened politically that these countries didn't comply and they were bombed. I was also thinking about it the same, like during the demonstrations. If we resisted the demonstration, trust me, these people would have done something. If Kenya would have gone ahead with the demonstration, like if we didn't actually comply with what they did, dividing and conquering, because that's what they did, they would have done something. It would have been literally a serious, something very serious, We would have become a Sudan here immediately, or a Congo. And I'm not even joking about it. It doesn't sound funny, but I'm just saying, because I saw it. As much as they were threatened, they won't leave that easily. They won't. But as we come to the end, so Sudan's military-led government has rejected a call by a UN fact-finding mission for the deployment of an international force to protect civilians from the country's ongoing civil war. Protecting always, raping. They have come here to nuts and please themselves. There's no peacekeeping here. There's no protection of the civilians, nothing as such. We've just read, I wish I could read all that article, but it's quite long. If only we could read the whole article and see how much dirt do we have, apart from them predating on male, boys, and even men. Because many of these people are in groups. They're moving in groups. So if you find an African man who has not eaten in 3 days, you think he's not going to be taken advantage of? Someone who has not eaten in 3 days, they can rape you. Then they get the monkeypox. Then they spread to the children. And then we have cases of monkeypox now on the rise. Monkeypox is actually on the rise. Not like that, as they're exaggerating, I still insist on that, but it's there. Okay? Of course, we know their agenda, but apparently our men are also taking it from the back. you know, our men, it's not open like that, but our men are doing dirty things outside here. I'm just saying. I don't have facts as much as I do. But they're saying that Sudan's warning parties had committed harrowing human rights violation against civilians. The UN mission reported, wow, the Sudan warring parties had committed harrowing human rights violation against civilians. So now the UN, which has never committed any harrowing human rights violation, they need to step in. They're the big dogs, the big boys. Mm? Thousands of people have been killed, nearly 8 million displaced since the conflict broke out in April 2023 between the army and the paramilitary rapid forces, that is the RSF. Remember, the US, a couple months ago, that was a few weeks ago. Let me see if I can find that article, right? I don't know if it's also indicated here. But a few weeks ago, we also had the US calling for peace talks, and they didn't include the army of the country. Instead, they did this with the rapid support forces. I think, if I'm not wrong. But Sudan's military did not attend. Actually, they refused. So they say, despite them refusing, they're still going to go on with the peace talks. That is the US and the rapid support forces, who are actually, of course, the ones behind all this. So shout out to Sudan military-led government for rejecting this, but still Sudan is not really, really safe. The fact that we have really peeing presidents, that's number one. The fact that we really have really old people as leaders, that is just a big red flag. So the country is really still in a very big, devastated situation. And I do believe whether they refuse, whether they say yes or not, how the US actually still managed to hold the talks despite the Sudan military-led government still refusing, not joining, which was very important. They had to be there. If you're trying to call for a ceasefire or any peace talks, we should be involved. But they're like, hey, we don't care. Okay? Whether the owner of the country is here, the owner of the house is here or not, we don't care. This shows you just the brutality of the people who run this world, how they run so mercilessly. And if only we had the same spirit as African people, if only we can bring back the fighting spirit. Reach shout out to Ibrahim Traore, he really has it. Like that guy, look at it, his face shows you. Ibrahim Traore's face literally shows you I'm a no-nonsense person. Fuck around, find out. The face itself just speaks itself. And that's how it should be as an African person. Your presence itself should be just enough. You don't need to utter a word. Your face, your expression, literally everything should speak for you. You should speak, it should speak for you and for your people. But apparently, nah, that's not what we have. You know, that's not what we have of our African leaders to present that. Like I did a show last week saying the weak presentation of Africa, the presentation of Africa is weak. The presenters of Africa are weak themselves. They bow, they smile, they take pictures, you know. They don't say no. They just shake hands, smile, hug, you know, and all that type of shit. While other leaders brutally are looking at you straight in the face, telling you they want it, and they just don't want it, they'll take it. And they bring their people, like the refugees. And all that. But as we come to the end, thank you so much to everyone who's tuned in, to John Mosquito, Mr. Black Fire. I see someone who followed us right here. Shout out to Lewis. Thank you so much for following the live creator and everyone who has been here for the first time, whether on YouTube, on Rumble, on our TV, on our show page. On our show page, of course, you need to have our application for you to be able to see me on our TV. So in case you're here for the first time, we don't have our application. This is the right time before I get to wind up. Kindly, after this, 5 minutes of your time, actually even 1 minute of your time, rush to the Google Play Store, search for Black Hot Fire Network. You'll find us right there. Download the app, and then on your upper left, you are able to actually, of course, access the show page and the rest of the things we have right there, of course, on our website. You can sign in using your username. Check out our Black Hot Fire Network sports store. We have amazing beauty supplies over there. We have an amazing active social platform where you can post amazing links, anything educative, anything informative, any breaking news that maybe has not landed on our table. That's the place to be, literally. But anyway, asanteni sana for being with me this morning. You can again walk with your head straight up, okay? Let no man tell you you no Rasta man, you ain't no good, okay? Wear your dreadlocks proudly. I know you do, as much as maybe I'm telling you this. I'm just adding to what you are saying. But walk proudly with your head straight, with your hair, you know. And yeah, keep doing you. That's it. Just live your life, you know. So long as you're comfortable with every choice you make, so long as you walk out of the house feeling comfortable again, that's it. Let nobody add or deduct anything from you. That's how you should move. And I'm so proud personally that I learned that, you know, because way back, especially in our household, oh my God, every time I give stories about our house, you know, it's crazy, right? So yeah, I've been questioned about my confidence, about how I used to walk. Oh, are you always walking like this? That's how I walk, okay? If you just can't take the fact that I was given a good walk, that's up to you. You want to walk like a crocodile, that is you, okay? You want to walk like a duck, that is you. Even a duck has a style. Come on. But anyway, much love. See you guys later. Have yourselves a beautiful, beautiful day, of course. But see you guys. No, it doesn't end here. See you guys later on the Rhythm Scoop Show, on the Africa Today Show. Come back, check out on Iwaton what she shall be discussing. I'm not sure about what's our topic today, but kindly come back and see what is on with Let's Pop here today on today's conversation. Much love. I wind up with this jam by Brooklyn Boys featuring Diana Codes.